Hello, my name is Dylan, but you can call me Buttercup. Welcome to Buttercup Yarn Art, a soft-spoken video journal where I play with and talk about yarn. I hope you enjoy this video, and if you'd like to see more, please subscribe. If there's anything yarn related you'd like to hear me talk about, please leave me a comment to let me know. The pattern I'm working on today is the same as last week. I am working on the flax sweater from Tin Can Knits. I have made some significant progress since last week. I completed the yoke and split the seams, the sleeves, and I am now working on the endless stockinette of the body. First thing I want to talk about today is wool. Specifically about the fact that I am allergic to it. I am actually allergic to the entire sheep, inside and out, which I discovered the hard way. Bit of a long story, but it involved an anatomy lab. Let's put it that way. So the problem with being allergic to wool is that a lot of designers recommend gorgeous wool yarns for their patterns, which I am allergic to and cannot use, and I then have to substitute. I've gotten pretty good at knowing what kind of yarn I want to use for a project. But the side effect of this is that I wind up finding a lot of independent yarn dyers who work mainly or entirely with wool yarn, and they dye these gorgeous colorways that I just can't use because they're only available on wool bases, which makes me very sad. And this is not an admonishment to designers to use non-wool yarn or to dyers to dye non-wool yarn. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. I'm just sad about not being able to use all of these pretty yarns that I see. I have found some dyers who have non-wool bases, like Sweet Georgia has the Flax and Silk DK and Flax and Silk Fine, which is linen and silk. Oink Pigments has Coven, which is also linen and silk. Dragon Horde Yarns has, I believe it's the Woodland Fingering, which is cotton and linen. And all of these are great. I am very happy that they exist, and I enjoy them all very much. The problem is that hand-dyed yarn is expensive. Again, not trying to tell yarn dyers to lower their prices, but I don't have the kind of money to spend on that. A dyer that I really like, who does only cotton and tencel, no wool, is Busy Peach. who makes beautiful colors. Beautiful yarns. 100% non-wool. Love her colors. And the yarn is very soft. But again, it's expensive, and it's not the kind of thing that I can use for every project. Non-hand dyed 100% cotton is pretty widely available and relatively inexpensive. Downside with cotton is it is frequently limited in terms of color availability. Not a lot of interesting variegated colorways that I've found. I found a couple, not a lot though, and I really enjoy variegated yarn. I have a lot of fun working with it, so it is a little disappointing when I can't find it at an affordable price point in a fiber content that I can use. Acrylics solve this pretty nicely in that they are widely available in a wide range of colors and at affordable price points. The problem with acrylics is that they leach microplastics, which I don't really like. I will happily use them, but for new purchases, I try to avoid it, just as a personal preference. I love acrylic yarn. I will always have a place in my heart for it. I wish it were better for the environment than it is. But it is at the same time as it is frustrating to see all these pretty yarns that I can't use because they're wool. I love seeing all the beautiful colorways that indie dyers come up with and make. I love seeing that. So it's a hard balance to strike between looking at pretty yarns and feeling discouraged that I can't buy them. And that's my balance to strike. I just wanted to talk about it a bit. You know, just put my thoughts together a little bit. Yarn that I'm using right now is 100% cotton. Lily Sugar and Cream. I know it's quote unquote crappy cotton, but I like using it. I like working with it. And, you know, I can afford it. And it's not, I don't find it really that terrible at all. It feels better once it's worked up than it does in the skein, I will say that. And it works well for what I need. So I actually have another project in my queue that I'll be using Lily Sugar and Cream for. I'm actually really excited for that project. It's gonna be fun. So, the next thing that I want to talk about is the act of knitting itself. You know, and all the various things that it means to me, that it does for me. You know, there's always the end result. I get a sweater, I get a hat, gloves, socks, what have you. But I also get a lot out of the act of knitting itself. Knitting is meditative, it is rhythmic and soothing and comforting. If I focus down on it, if I put all my attention onto it, it can be a distraction when I need distracting. Like, say, during a global pandemic, for instance. You know, it can give me an escape from a terrible reality, a terrifying reality. It can distract me from something that's just happening to me that I don't want to think about for a period of time. It is sensory stimulation. It gives me something tactile to focus on. If I'm feeling bad or if I need grounding, I can knit and focus down into my hands, feel the yarn in my fingers, feel the stitches in my hands, the needles, the fabric. Ground myself in that. Related to that, it keeps my hands busy while I'm doing things. You know, if I'm watching a movie or listening to music, I like having something to do with my hands. I need to have something to do with my hands. Or, as I'm sure you can see, my fingers pay the price. And knitting works really well for that. Knitting is perfect for that. You know, the end result of knitting, having something tangible that I've made, is a really good balm against nihilism. You know, yeah, everything is meaningless, everything is terrible, but look, I made a sweater, I made a hat, I made something that is keeping me warm. But the act of knitting itself is just as meaningful. Like, yeah, things are bad, but if I keep putting one needle through a loop of yarn on the other. It'll eventually make something, and isn't that just as important as the thing that it makes? The act of making is so comforting. I have a little bit of control over this ridiculous world. And that just means so much to me. You know, there's only so much that I can control. But I can take needles and string and make things. And I think that's amazing. So please, for a few minutes at least, just sit with me. Grab whatever you're making, or something nice to drink, and just sit with me while I make. Okay? Thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day.